Welcome back everyone, Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmITheDevil for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the posts, giving you my own opinion, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for telling my son to not date this girl? My son, 28 male, is generally hardworking and smart, but also a bit naive, especially when it comes to girls. He currently works a job in tech and makes $110,000 total. Anyways, he's been seeing this girl for a month or two. I haven't really seen her or know much about her, but I recently met her and have red flags. She's 25, almost 26, and has no degree and makes around $45,000 a year. She claims she was raised in a poor rural family and had to stay at home to help out with siblings and all. Frankly, I don't believe her excuses. She's pale, blonde-haired, and blue-eyed, and probably had a privileged or semi-privileged life and blew it all off. I also have a feeling my son is just dating her for the looks. Anyway, I told my son not to marry or engage with this girl. She has too many red flags, including a long gap in her work history, and the fact that she claims to be from a poor family while wearing dresses and nice bags. I think she's dating my son for money, and if he makes more, it's going to be a risk if they get married, as we live in a community poverty state. When my son said he was thinking of proposing in a few months, I told him all this. He immediately got mad and called me a misogynist. My wife also says I was too harsh. Am I the asshole? Okay, so blonde hair, blue eyes, that means she must be privileged, right? Because she's pretty. You admitted you live in a community poverty state, and the idea of someone living in poverty is foreign to you? Also, she's 25. She probably graduated college pretty recently, especially if she had to be at home and helping out with siblings. Instead of maybe a 4-year degree, it took her longer. Who knows? That would explain the gap in work history. And speaking of that, are you hiring her? Why do you need your resume? She makes her own money. Your son's happy. Like, is she being abusive, or is this just with the fact that she's poor? Like, do you have any indication she's in the relationship for the money? Is she making your son buy her a bunch of shit? Is your son making poor financial decisions involving getting loans that he shouldn't be? Because right now, the only crime that, she's guilty of is not having a clean work history and being poor. Also, just because she comes from a poor family doesn't mean she can't now afford dresses and nice bags. She makes $45,000 a year. How do you know she didn't just save money up to buy herself some nice clothes? Ha! Everyone knows that poor people can't wear dresses. Once a poor person, always a poor person. If you don't have little patches of cartoonish dirt on your face and raggedy, greasy hair, you obviously were never poor once in your life. It kind of makes sense why you haven't really seen her or know too much about her. Probably because your son's embarrassed by you. Because, yeah, you are a misogynist. Also, no offense, but it's not very often that I trust a man, especially a man like this, on whether or not a woman has a luxury bag or a luxury dress or not. It could literally be a top-shelf Walmart purse, and you just think it's a nice bag because it's shiny. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole to refuse to help my wife bathe our son when she said she's tired today? Where I live, there's a hot summer right now, so we put our son under the shower almost every day after kindergarten time. Usually, my wife is responsible for this. I just help get him undressed and fill the bath with water and toys. But she does the actual washing. Yesterday, my wife told me that she's tired and has back pain and wanted me to shower him this day. I was just coming from work and I was exhausted. I'll also have to do all the dinner dishes at night while they're sleeping, so my day is not easier anyhow. As my wife always complains about being tired and not able to do things, asking for help, etc., I told her then I'm also not going to do house chores at night as I am also tired. She got angry and told me that I don't care about her emotions or physical strength, and she doesn't ask me for this every day. I still also insisted to not help. My goal was to let her know that each one in the house has something to do, and if everyone says I'm tired, then nothing gets accomplished. I wanted to punish her for stating very often that she's tired and has no energy to do anything. Although I know she has energy as she spends hours on Facebook and talking to her friends over the phone. I don't want things to escalate, I just want her to have discipline and do what she has to do. Am I the asshole? Hey, so if you're doing dishes, does that mean she cooked that night, out of curiosity? Like, sure, the division of labor isn't exactly 50-50 for one singular night, but she asked you for help because she's exhausted and tired. Yes, I understand that you're exhausted and tired as well, and it's equally valid to say, hey, I'm also very exhausted and tired. But for you to then take the stance of, I wanted to punish her for daring to state that she was tired and has no energy to do anything. Like, do you hear yourself? She's not just tired or exhausted. She's in pain, asking for your help, her husband's help, with your son. Thank you, Linguist, by the way, for having some of OP's comments before they deleted their account out of shame. Puts on CSI sunglasses. Commenter, info. Does your wife also have a job, or is she a stay-at-home mom? I noticed you didn't mention it in your post. OP responds, she does freelancing, remote from home. But then, in a comment 2 days ago on a post asking day traders what they do for work, OP responds, software engineer. I work from home and have time to switch between looking at market and writing code. That's the best part about my job. He's a fucking finance bro. A finance bro that went mask off by accidentally posting his true intentions. I want to punish her. Nice, dude. Congratulations. Cross posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for refusing to allow the hospital to discharge my wife to me? My wife now has stage 4 colon cancer. For the past year and a half, I have had to work and then come home and do the majority of the household chores, and I was also treated as the nurse. We have 2 sons, 18 male and 16 male, and a daughter, 15 female, that help out. But it became expected of me to be their go-to parent on everything. A year ago, my wife pretty much stopped being able to do anything for herself. She's exceptionally rude to me and pretty much screams and cries hysterically all the time, and sometimes mutters on about people who haven't been in her lives for some time. She also blames me for not being kind to her when I'm putting my entire life on hold when I'm at home, and I felt like I didn't even have an identity anymore. Over the summer, I have talked to doctors and they told me there was a lot of red tape regarding getting my wife into a nursing home. I talked with my dad, 74 male, and he told me that from his understanding, hospitals, if you didn't pick up the patient after discharge 3 days later, the hospital social worker would have to place them into a specialized nursing facility. Last week, my wife had to be rushed to the emergency room. For the week I didn't have to be her nurse, I realized how much of a strain taking care of a barely lucid and angry, when she was lucid, woman had become to me. I realized that I was basically being mom and dad around the house, and I was so tired of doing this every single day and then waking up at 6 to go to work. When I found out my wife was set to be discharged, I ended up making up my mind. When the hospital called to say that they were going to discharge my wife, and I needed to be there to receive her, I told them that I did not want to take care of her anymore. The hospital continuously called me back, and the person on the other line would beseech me to bring my wife home. However, I stood my ground and said that my wife needed to go to a professional nursing facility, and said that the hospital social workers needed to figure that out. Am I the asshole for finally realizing I had reached my limits? My daughter in particular is very upset that her mom is not coming home. My son screamed at me that they would take care of their mother 24/7 if they had to. However, I knew that the hospital social worker would do his/her job competently and help my wife into a facility. Tinfoil hat time. It's not about the cleaning and having to do household chores. It's not about having to be both mom and dad, because if that's the case, why leave her at the hospital? You're just dooming yourself to the thing that you're actively complaining about. Your kids are also offering to take care of her as much as they possibly can, which, honestly, sounds like, just based upon your first intro, that's something they're already doing. I'd also like further explanation on, but it became expected of me to be their parent on everything. I mean, yeah, your wife is sick with stage 4 colon cancer and they still need like a father in their lives. They're also probably dealing with emotional turmoil because, their mom has stage 4 colon cancer. So my tinfoil hat theory is that he's just been looking for an excuse to kick her to the curb. It's not about the household chores, it's not about playing parent. He sees the fact that his kids are going to be gone and off to college or somewhere in probably 3 to 4 years, and won't have them anymore. And he certainly has no romantic or love for his wife anymore, that's for damn sure. Also, does he think the care facility is just going to be free? Like, it's not going to be, dude. It's gonna be really expensive. But the tinfoil hat theory is that he wants to move on. He wants to find someone else. He plans to move on, ASAP. That's why he's complaining about being sick of being an only parent, or being both the dad and the mom to the children. Because in his mind, the moment she's out of there, he gets to move on, find someone else to be their mother. That's why that comment was made. Because in his mind, he's already come to the conclusion, and it's obvious that he's just gonna find someone else to be the mom. Again, this is my tinfoil hat theory, but considering the kids are willing to step in and do things to help out and, be more active, and we actually have no idea if the kids are doing nothing or not enough. The only information we have is we have 2 sons and a daughter that help out. That's the only information we get. The next time they're mentioned is when they found out their mom's not coming home. If the kids weren't holding up their end of it and not doing anything to help around the house, OP could have had the easiest dunk of just stating, "My son screamed at me that they would take care of their mother 24/7 if they had to." And if they weren't actually doing anything around the house, he could have just slapped back with something along the lines of, "I knew I couldn't take their word at face value because they haven't been doing anything around the house to help otherwise." Not saying that justifies anything, by the way, this is more of just an example of OP's inner monologue. But it's because of the information that we both do have and don't have that I'm led to believe that tinfoil hat theory. In sickness and in health, my ass. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for grounding my daughter by not bonding with me on gardening? I, 47 female, live with my husband and my youngest daughter, 15 female. My oldest daughter, 20 female, no longer lives with us, and I feel a bit lonely, since she used to be my partner. We did everything together. We liked the same things, and we were best friends. I love my youngest daughter equally. I don't have a favorite child, but it has always been difficult for me to bond with her because we're too different. My youngest daughter clearly prefers my husband, given that just like my oldest daughter, they're best friends. They do everything together. They like the same things, and they often bond over games, music, and anime. I've tried to bond more deeply with my daughter, but I don't understand her tastes. And when we're alone, we hardly even have anything to talk about. My husband doesn't see it as a problem, and he often says, each parent with his own daughter. But it doesn't seem right to me. I recently decided to build a garden and asked my daughter to help me, as I often bonded with her sister on gardening. She said no right away, but I forced her anyway. I thought it would be a beautiful afternoon, laughing and chatting, but it wasn't. She complained all the time that the dirt was gross, that the sun was gonna burn her, and every time I turned around, I saw her using her phone. At one point, I got bored with her attitude and said, "If you dislike this so much, go and leave your mother alone." She went back into the house. I thought she would come out in a few minutes. She would apologize and we would start over, like in the movies. But an hour passed and nothing. I walked into the house and saw her in her room, playing on her computer. I got mad and grounded her without games for a week. She wasn't even sorry. She left me alone and she called it a wasted afternoon, which hurt me. My husband defended her by saying that if I really knew her, I would know that she doesn't like outdoor activities and that I should have tried to bond by doing something she likes instead of forcing something that I like on her. He also accused me of trying to turn her into a version of her sister and of trying to take his daughter away from him. Now they're both against me and give me the silent treatment. So, am I the asshole? So, trying to be as gently as I possibly can with this, you're not interested in knowing your daughter, you're interested in knowing an idea of your daughter. An idea of your daughter that left with your oldest when she moved out. You want to have a movie-esque relationship with your daughter where she grows to learn that, oh, gardening and other things with mom is super cool, and my other tastes are actually lame. You're more interested in this fictionalized version of your daughter that you have an idea of from movies. Meanwhile, your husband is correct. If you want to bond with your daughter, you need to make time for her interests, and not just ones that you miss doing with your eldest daughter. If you really want to have a weekend gardening excursion, maybe see when your oldest daughter will be in town next so you two can just spend an afternoon together like old times. But with your youngest daughter, you're not going to win her over or win her heart by trying to force her to do activities she has no interest in. Your husband's right on this one. Cross-posted from Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for getting my coworker fired after she snitched to my boss/parents about me smoking? I, 24 female, work at a small souvenir shop in my beach town owned by my parents. I've literally been there my whole life. My parents are super strict, very old school, and super anti-smoking. Like, they think cigarettes are worse than murder. But here's my little secret. I smoke. Not a lot, and not around customers, just on breaks, behind the shop, with some of my coworkers. I know it's bad, I'm underage, but the coworkers I smoke with are older, and we're all tight. They're like big siblings to me, and have known me for years. We've got a trust system. I'd never be dumb enough to do it in front of my parents, and they'd never rat me out. A few weeks ago, my parents hired this new girl, let's call her Sarah. She's around my age. From day one, she was giving major I'm better than everyone vibes. Always being fake sweet to my parents, volunteering for extra stuff, side-eyeing us when they joke around. She clearly wanted to be a teacher's pet. One day, Sarah caught me and a couple of my coworkers having a small break behind the shop. She didn't say anything, just stared at us like she was mentally filing it away. I felt weird about it, but didn't think much. Until the next day. My parents pulled me into the office and hit me with the "we're very disappointed in you" talk. Apparently, Sarah told them everything. Not just that I was smoking, but that I was doing it on the job, with other coworkers, and being a bad influence in general. I was mortified. My parents were furious. I got grounded, yelled at, and told I was lucky they didn't fire me from my own family's business. I denied it at first, but it was obvious. And the second I walked out of that office, I knew what I had to do. I told my coworkers what happened, and they were furious. So we made a plan. Mia, my coworker, went to my parents the next day and said she overheard Sarah on the phone saying nasty stuff about the shop, like, "This place is a dump," and "I only work here because it's easy money." Another coworker backed her up and added that Sarah was constantly on her phone, and one time almost double-charged a customer. We even faked a situation where Sarah forgot to restock an entire display and blamed her for a missed sale, which didn't even happen. Meanwhile, I kept playing the role of hurt, betrayed daughter. I told my parents I felt unsafe and uncomfortable around someone who would lie about me to them. Total guilt trip. Long story short, Sarah got fired. My parents said she wasn't a good cultural fit and didn't have the values we expected. She cried, said she was just trying to do the right thing, and left. I might have smirked a little. So yeah, I technically got someone fired for telling the truth, but also, she violated unspoken coworker code. Didn't even talk to me first, and made it personal by framing it like I was some toxic teen terror. Like, girl, you work here, not run it. Edit, it's not weed, it's cigarettes. I'm not going to reply anymore because I genuinely got tired of replying. I get what I did was wrong, but I also had my reasons. Also, I would like to mention, calling me slurs and bad names while most of you are adults is not going to make the situation better. I did some reflecting, and I also hope everyone here also does some reflecting, because when a child burns themselves, you aren't supposed to slap them. Some of you had very amazing advice, and I will try to become a better person. But most of you aren't any better than I am. You don't beat a bully with bullying. I'm a teenager, and I have time to change and become better. You're adults. Also, I'm not going to be deleting the post because I think everyone can learn something from this, not only me. You just sound like an incredible person. Life is gonna be really shitty once you're actually an adult, you know. This kind of behavior isn't gonna work. Like, it's just not gonna fly. Also, it's pretty goddamn obvious the comments that were just calling you out for your behavior did get under your skin. And yeah, the people go into your DMs and harassing you, that sucks. That's unacceptable. But when it comes to the other comments on your public post, like, you asked for that, quite literally. Like, you actually asked for it by posting. And people called out your bullshit behavior, because that's what it is. Bullshit. You read like a small-town Nepo baby. It's just insane. And also, by the way, you can't complain about people bullying you and that bullying a bully doesn't work, because thing is, glass houses. The goal of bullying isn't trying to correct your behavior, it's trying to make you feel bad. As you should know, which they very clearly did. I hope you actually do grow and improve, but I doubt it. You come off as the kind of person that's riding the high of their high school years, and that's going to be your peak, your highlight. In my personal opinion, I think you should confess to your parents, and I think you should apologize to the person you got fired. I think you should try to grow up and be an adult and actually show a shred of responsibility and prove that you're not the monster that people think you are. It's just an idea, but I think it'd go a long way, and I think it could build a lot of character if you actually were just honest. Also, welcome to the internet. Just because you're under 18 doesn't mean strangers on the internet can't be mean to you. If you're gonna smoke cigarettes like an adult, then fucking act like one. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for telling my friend she can't bring her baby to my brunch? So I, 25 female, am planning a cute, aesthetic birthday brunch with my friends. It's a whole vibe. Rooftop restaurant, coordinated outfits, Polaroids, etc. I worked hard planning it, and I really wanted to feel mature and cute. One of my close friends, 26 female, had a baby 4 months ago, and she's been bringing him literally everywhere. Girls' nights, coffee runs, even a spa day once. It's honestly kind of annoying because everything ends up revolving around the baby, and she's always breastfeeding or stepping away to change him. I told her for this brunch, it's adults only, so no kids. I was polite but firm. She seemed okay at first, but then she asked again, like a week later, if she could just bring the baby and keep him in a stroller by the table. I said no again, and admitted, kind of jokingly, by the way, that her baby isn't exactly photogenic. And I didn't want a brunch of crying or messy baby pics in the group photos I'm posting. Now she's pissed, saying I called her baby ugly, which I kind of did. But, like, babies can be ugly, like it's not personal. And then I'm prioritizing aesthetics over friendship. Some of the girls in the group are taking her side now and calling me shallow and heartless. But I'm not saying she can't come at all. I just don't want the baby there. It's my birthday. So, if the baby was photogenic, would you allow it to attend? You also aren't doing yourself any favors with the parenthetical insertions there. Like, it just makes you seem like a straw man of a mean girl, which is just kind of crazy because that's the exact vibe you give off, even in the way you write. Like, it's just there. Like, I don't choose the voices that I read these posts in. It's just the inner voice actor crawling out and just ascribing a vocal tone to the words that are in front of me. I don't control that. It actually takes more effort to read something in a monotone voice than it does just to let my brain read it in the way it's written. And like, the thing is, if you don't want to have a baby at your birthday, you're totally allowed to say that. Like, it's your birthday. You can just say, hey, it's adults only. So I scrolled down, and to my absolute delight, I found a comment thread by Sadly the Worst, who went through and actually clicked a lot of OP's comments. And posts. Content warning, ableism. Copied verbatim from OP's comments and post history. A post to r/advice, people being people. I was at my local store buying my usual shit, and I noticed some girls my age talking about overconsumption. I can understand I was buying a lot, but it's rude. I needed all the stuff to stock my mini fridge, needed a new outfit for my double date, and I needed new makeup. We need to normalize buying a lot of stuff. I need advice on how to handle people like her. This isn't the first time, and I'm considering only ordering online. What should I do? Quick Oz insert here. Is this a chronically self-obsessed mean girl with absolutely no self-reflection, or just a master at rage bait? Like, oh my god. Someone responds with, just ignore them. Another post to r/advice. Was my comment deserved or rude? I came across a post someone else made asking for advice under the same subreddit. The poster mentioned wanting to know how to talk to her crippled boyfriend after they were intimate and how she made him cry and she felt bad, though she had said she asked him a lot beforehand. I commented with my thoughts on the matter, calling her ableist and telling her to reflect on her actions. She responded by asking me to keep negative comments like mine off her post. I was insulted because she asked for advice in the first place, so I replied that if she didn't want honesty, she shouldn't have made the post. I showed one of my closest friends, and she said I was in the wrong in being an asshole. Is that true? I thought I was just being honest. Sadly the Worst ends, the comment has been deleted, and I didn't manage to retrieve it. Apologies. Someone responded to this with, Calling someone ableist is not giving them helpful advice or insight. It's just straight up blaming them. It also seems to completely miss the spirit of the post, because the way you describe it, this girl was trying her best. To which they responded, "That's what my friend had told me. I understand your wording, but my response was helpful. I told her I had a crippled friend, which grants me some great advice on the topic. I'm just having a hard time understanding why she wouldn't be ableist and how I'm being blunt in blaming them." How is she being ableist is the real fucking question. Because, I mean, you're the one, if anything, who's being ableist by you using the word crippled to describe people with disabilities is ableist. Like, if you really want to get into the weeds on it. Now, on to comments from the main post. You're the asshole, and you're extremely disingenuous about the post title. She's not mad that you told her she couldn't bring the baby. She's mad you insulted her child. How on earth did you think that was going to go? The woman had a baby 4 months ago, and you hit her right in the hormones. I understand why I'm the asshole, I guess. I just don't get why she can't put the baby in a daycare for a few hours. She uses the excuse that she's single and money is hard, but I don't know. I'm not a mom, but it doesn't cost that much. This has... Again, self-absorbed mean girl, or just master-crafted rage bait? OP replied twice to the above comment, with the same words. I understand why I'm the asshole, I guess. I just don't get why she can't put the baby in a daycare for a few hours. She uses the excuse that she's a single mom and money is hard, but I don't know, I'm not a mom, but it doesn't cost that much. Someone comments, "This is the fakest fake that ever faked. Do better. You're the asshole for posting drivel." I did exaggerate it just a bit. I'm having a party and don't want the baby there. But she's only brought the baby 1 or 2 other places, not everywhere. I also didn't mention she's single, but that doesn't change much, to be honest. So, I guess kinda fake. Another comment. I'm guessing at 25, she's the first or one of the first to have a baby in your group. You can absolutely ask her not to bring the baby, but seriously, it's 4 months old and breastfeeding. It is, and should, be her first priority, not an aesthetic brunch or whatever. You will realize that as people have babies, the baby is their first priority, as it should be, and they will miss things just because. But also, if baby is excluded. Also, insulting the baby is really crappy. I see now I was immature, but she's trying to blame me. She said she's single and money is hard, but I only see her working 1 job, and it doesn't cost that much putting a kid in daycare. I don't know. I want her to come, but she's being complicated. And not in reply to anyone, I want to make it clear I didn't mean to call the baby ugly, like I was clearly just joking, LOL. Because people keep making that a point. You're the asshole. What do you mean aesthetic? Like, I was going to have everyone wear the same color, decorations, music, planned it all out. Yes, you're the asshole, and your comments only make you look worse. Are you 25 or 15? There is nothing wrong with wanting to make cute posts. I understand I was immature, but the desire to post is a small, if non-existent, aspect of it. Take all this as you will, because this is messy. Are you in the boat of this is just an extremely self-obsessed mean girl with absolutely no social awareness? Or is this just really good rage bait and someone just spent their afternoon having the time of their life? Because I could see an argument for either. Because I've met mean girls like this, but some of the comments are just like almost perfectly choreographed to just get under people's skin. She says she's a single mom and, money's tight, and I only see her working 1 job, but like, why doesn't she just get daycare? IDK? Like, that is just perfectly crafted rage bait right there. Like, to anyone who understands anything about daycare costs and what it's like to be a single mother. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Bear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those 2 are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.